In order to get out of the current world economic and financial depression, in the tradition of the Transcontinental Railroad, the Tennessee Valley Authority, the Manhattan Project, and the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, let us build on this great heritage. I propose today 3 science drivers to provide high rates of technological innovation and scientific discovery to allow modernization. Let us remember that the NASA moonshot of the 1960s put $4 into the economy for every dollar spent, and this kind of multiplier effect can be enhanced, not just attained, as we go forward in the future. Let us start with $50 billion for the space program. This means the permanent colonization and exploration of the moon, Mars, and nearby objects in the solar system, the development of permanent space stations, and the beginning of large-scale industrial production in space, as well as energy production in space, quite possibly including the capturing of solar radiation in Earth orbit. A second science driver, the biomedical research program, the only possible way to realize real savings in Medicare and Medicaid and other healthcare expenditures is to find cures for cancer, diabetes, tuberculosis, malaria, and other dread diseases. We declare war on them. We will pursue cures, and we will spend money as fast as possible in this area. As fast as the money can productively be spent, we will increase the potential of nursing schools, medical schools, hospitals, and others, and we will make the system more economical by curing diseases which now take hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars of treatment to deal with. Our third science driver is in the area of high-energy physics, another $50 billion initially. Beyond the current generation of nuclear power reactors, we will require, according to all indications, thermonuclear fusion power reactors, and quite possibly beyond them, reactors based on antimatter systems. This is the kind of area where we need engineers, scientists, mathematicians, and I'm therefore announcing a return of the National Defense Education Act of Senator Ralph Yarborough of Texas, which will allow the training of these technical personnel, as was done in the post-Sputnik period of the 1950s and 1960s. Concerning our farm economy, the much-neglected farm economy must now be restored. This is the immediate vital interest of everyone in maintaining sufficient levels of nutrition and food stocks. We start with no foreclosures on family farms. We continue with a debt moratorium for family farms, just as for all other areas of the productive economy. The parity price of the United States Department of Agriculture will henceforth be set at 110% of parity and up. The parity price reflects the normal price necessary for the capital inputs, labor, and other essential elements of producing food, plus a reasonable level of profit for the family farmer and family. If 110% is not enough, then it will be increased. I recall to everyone that during World War II, when food was necessary to win the war against Nazi fascism, it was necessary to put the parity price well above 100%, and in some cases approaching 125%. Farmers in general need to be encouraged to produce. We need more food, not less. Worldwide food stocks, in particular grain stocks, are now at alarmingly low levels. Famine is already in progress in many parts of the world. In order to deal with that, we must return to one of the Eisenhower administration's best programs, Food for Peace, not food for imperialist interference in the affairs of other countries, but simply a means of preventing genocide when this can be easily done. For small business here in the United States, we require tax relief. This will largely be through the single-payer Medicare for all system of health care. At the same time, we propose to shift the tax burden off of small business onto Wall Street and the banks. This will be done through a Tobin tax or securities transfer tax of 1% on all turnover of stocks, bonds, debt instruments, and other forms of securities. At the same time, we must look at the world of the foundations. The Ford Foundation, the Carnegie Foundation, the Gates Foundation, the Broad Foundation, the Annenberg Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation, huge sums of money that are taxed at a very low rate. They generally represent the ill-gotten gains of robber barons or more modern monopolists like Bill Gates, and have taken on a life of their own, led and administered by Malthusian foundation bureaucrats dedicated to the preservation of a fragmentation and racist division of the American people. These tax rates must now be radically increased. We propose an exemption for foundations that are willing to put money into hospitals, medical research, libraries, universities, and other positive areas of activity. But for those foundations that insist on funding projects of social manipulation, brainwashing, mind-bending, the fomenting of racism and incendiary rhetoric in the various ethnic groups of the United States, a vast increase in the tax rate will be immediately implemented as part of lifting the tax burden off the children or grandchildren of the people who were looted to get that money in the first place. In terms of individuals, tax reform will take the immediate form of an increase of the personal exemption to $25,000, of an increase of the standard deduction per family to $30,000. This means that a family of four under the new system will pay no tax at all under the first $130,000 of income. We propose a substantial increase in the earned income tax credit for poor taxpayers, allowing the tax system to be used to supplement the incomes of those who are below the poverty level. The poverty level, in the meantime, will be revised upward to represent a more realistic figure. The system of education credits, the HOPE, lifetime learning, and related credits will be improved. For health care, it is clear that private insurance has once again struck out. AIG, MetLife, Prudential, the other members of the Hartford cabal, that is to say the Connecticut Mutual Life Insurance Company and others, have struck out. They have done more to invest in derivatives and in advertising and lobbying than they have put money into improvements of health care. We propose Medicare for all as an option for anyone who wants it. Those who say that they believe in competition will obviously welcome the entry of Medicare for all into the area of general insurance for any person, and I stress for any person under U.S. jurisdiction. The only way, once again, we can realize actual savings in health care is by a process of discovery so that we can develop cures. Finally, in this area of soft infrastructure, we can no longer afford to put large numbers of the younger generation on the human junk heap from lack of education. No one can be employable and productive in the 21st century without a college education. Our immediate goal must therefore be college for all, quickly followed as soon as possible by advanced degrees for all. College for all means that any person getting a high school diploma or equivalency diploma, GSA, in any part of the United States must be guaranteed 4 years of college through a combination of funded community college and state universities, so that no one will need to go onto the human junk heap under this new administration. We will allow no entitlement reform of the type discussed by the Democratic candidate Obama. Entitlement reform means chiseling and gouging, looting money out of Social Security and Medicare to convoy that money into Wall Street, and it will not be allowed.